everywhere you are in the United States or North America anyway, so doesn't work quite as well. But I'm excited to see how these two teams end up stacking up against each other. Obviously, we are seeing at least one of the players that used to be on a very similar team to the one we just saw, right? Just randoms was running Captain Shrimps for a long time, and now the guy's playing for Cloud9.
Yeah, honestly, they just did a good job highlighting him. He's one of the star players that were coming up in the Scouting Ground series. Played Fizz. His champ pool is definitely something a lot of mid laners are not accustomed to. Plays Gangplank, plays Fizz, plays like Rumble, plays a lot of other, weird shenanigans. I wonder if Cloud9 wants to utilize in because we're already taking a look at the bans right now. Zilean being banned away from Tempos, knowing that he is one of the premier Zilean players in the solo queue ladder. But Akali and Pantheon being removed here, so not those two champions as we saw in the first series.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a little bit different as well, whereas last time we were paying a lot of attention to the top side of the map. This time, we're going to be paying a lot more attention down to the bottom. Wixie and Tempo is obviously a very strong bottom lane that I believe Mazel was highlighting previously. Or might have been Alk Battery. Either way, they were very big on these guys. And of course, Meech and Trevor going to be opposite them down there. And we're already seeing the Kaisa come through as one of the power picks throughout this tournament.
Yeah, now in the first series between Not Academy team and a new Rising, Olaf was banned the entire series all the way through, and now Olaf being left up is definitely making me wonder how strong this champion is going to be. XU, of course, is going to be the one piloting that champion in the rest of this game here. Is to lock in for Jin and Leona for Wixie and Tempos, but I know you highlighted the bot lane too, Josh, but so far, pretty explosive setup coming in for Cloud9 Amateur.
Yeah, I definitely think to go back to the Olaf, it's definitely something that becomes more and more powerful the more melee champions your opposing team picks. And so far with a couple of marksmen, they're not melee. They are trying to get away from you. And Sidra in a similar thing. So it makes it harder for Olaf to get a lot of value out of the Gore Drinker that he tends to build. And it instead forces him to kind of trade 1-for-1. And again, we might be seeing a bit of a threat overload team composition coming from both sides, right? You already have two marksmen on one side and then a Syndra on the other. You have Jin, Olaf, and now Leona. So right now they are ahead of the curve because they already have their engage picked up, whereas Mirage still need to find some way to provide a little bit more crowd control than they currently do with their roster.
It's pretty weird. Mirage picking some, as you coined, midfielders across the board for the Mirage squad. Have to see if they want to kite away or go in, knowing that Kaisa is one of the best AD carries to dive in. Not too sure if she wants to be diving into an Olaf and a Leona. As we take a look at the rest of the bans coming through. Roman being banned away against Captain Shrimps, one of the premier mid laners that he is very well accustomed to. Taking a look at the rest of it here. I think we might have a little glitch. Nope, never mind. You see Twisted Fate come through for Mr. Captain Shrimps, so no Globe was coming in this today.
Yeah, interesting to see that coming through. Obviously, Captain Shrimps with things like the Fizz, and I have to imagine every Fizz player can also play Echo. Like, they just still have pretty decent opportunities to play up against the Syndra. But now with the Morgana coming in, we're seeing that Mirage, instead of going for threat overload, they're just going for like a fanning composition, right? It's the kind of thing where you're still looking to team fight. You're just looking to do it where everybody is doing their own thing and everybody's spreading out so that you can kind of create this field of fire where anybody who stands in it gets blown up incredibly quickly. And right now, Cloud9 are kind of playing into that. But the thing is about like these fanning compositions is if they aren't strong enough to actually do, if they aren't strong enough to actually kite out, they just die. And this Darius provides a very big focal point, so everybody fans around the Darius, and he's like, all right, I'm going to stand here, and I'm going to take all the beating for you guys, and hopefully heal it up enough through it so that it doesn't matter.
Probably not even heal it up and maybe execute some other some homies while they're trying to dive into his teammates. But biggest thing I want to highlight here, Josh, Dragoon's Darius. He's one of the premier top laners who loves playing this champion, and it's a pretty good matchup for himself into Speedo's Aatrox. So now it's kind of weird. We had our sights on the bottom side because it's very much 2v2 focused, knowing that Meech and Trevor love playing for 2v2s, but I think Cloud9 Amateur needs to have some sort of way to tackle Dragoon.
Yeah, I remember seeing this exact matchup play out not that long ago, again in the Risen Open qualifiers. I believe it was just last week. And unfortunately, the Aatrox walked into the Darius at level 1 into a bush and basically lost the game instantly. Like 40 seconds. So you got to be very careful in this matchup because it can snowball incredibly hard out of control. On the flip side, though, if Darius starts to fall behind, he doesn't have a whole lot of tools either. He's definitely a champion that needs to stay ahead this entire time. And with the number of melee champions he's going to be brawling with, he definitely has the tools to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but I like it. You know, Mirage letting Dragoon play one of his more comfortable champions on the top side. It's only game 1, too, so why not just try and go ahead and test the waters out, you know? So I don't mind it at all. If Dragoon makes it successful, probably going to see a ban in second rotation from Cloud9 going to game 2, because if you win once on Darius, you could definitely win again, and I would definitely see that happen if Mirage were to take this game.
Yeah, it is very interesting, right? Because now you definitely have a lane where you should be having priority. Because in the bottom lane, like, even though they have the Morgana into the Leona, there's still enough crowd control, there's still enough tools that you can jump onto either of these people in the bottom lane and potentially look to blow them up incredibly quickly. So you're not going to be particularly excited about playing through your bottom lane unless you're consistently trying to find kills. You can't use them to get priority. You need to kill people with them in order to try and actually go for things like the dragon or potentially try and invade the bottom side red buff.
Yeah, hopefully that bot lane priority from Mirage will be proved successful, knowing that's a double ranged bot lane versus a melee support. I think Tempest is going to get bullied a little bit, actually a lot, sorry, in the bottom side. Hopefully emotional, a jungler that we haven't really seen in the amateur scene, has a good come up in this tournament. Haven't seen a lot from him or DNA. I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do. I know the desk did talk about Captain Shrimps and DNA and how DNA will hold up in him. It's going to be a tall mountain to climb if he actually manages to take down Captain Shrimps.
Yeah, it's definitely something where you got to be very focused on a lot of these more veteran players, because if they just start losing to the newcomers on the block, kind of asked, like, you know, why do they have the positions that they have? Is DNA and play emotional strong enough to potentially take away a lot of these positions? I don't know. We'll have to see. Obviously, they won their first series, so they're doing something right at the very least.
Yeah, that's true. They both won their series, so we'll have to see what they can do. I know that in Game 2, Mirage managed to win against Super Sunshine Fruit Basket Warriors. That's a freaking mouthful. Super Sunshine Fruit Basket Warriors. And going into their Game 3 here. And Cloud9, of course, having a lucky Game 2. I think the desk said that Cloud9 managed to win off of Supernova's mistakes, and then Game 3, of course, is secure the victory. So I'm kind of curious which one will have the better momentum going to this set. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize, though, that whenever your opponent blunders, you still have to capitalize on it. It's not enough for them to make a mistake. You still have to punish them. And so whenever we hear stuff like that, just like in our first game that we saw today, it was a big deal when Yami went over the wall and wasn't able to kill Winston. That was a big mistake, and they got hard punished for it. So we'll see if Mirage can continue to do that, because there's a lot of room for error on both these squads, right? In a very similar way, whichever team has an early advantage should be in a very dominant position as we start looking towards these team fights, because Cloud9 doesn't have that many long-range tools in order to try and poke out, whereas on the other hand, you have constant skill shots that this team can really start throwing your way.
Wondering to see if there's any level 1 shenanigans from Cloud9, knowing that they have the Olaf in their pockets, and Leona too. I would like to see an invade. I don't think we've only seen some late invades from Game 1, from the first set of the day. I think they should, man. I don't see why not. I mean, Morgana is going to be pretty troublesome champion to go through, but instead, line of scrimmage.
Yep, pretty standard stuff overall. Not particularly surprising coming out from just about anyone. I mean, there is a ghost coming up from Dragoon, which is not as common in the competitive scene, but very common in solo queue, and what this champion tends to do. You just want to run people down, and it allows you to kind of forego the phase rush that you sometimes see on this character in order to have a bit more team fight presence just by having that Conqueror and being able to heal rather consistently later on in the game. But DNA and Captain Shrimps just auto-attacking each other. It's working.
Yeah, DNA's winning. Captain Shrimps is jumping to 100 HP. 96. 67. One more.
What?
DNA won the one-on-one. Best of 3. Let's run it again, man. We might as well get hype in that one-on-one, man.
I'm furious.
It was the stage. They were at Dreamland. Let's go to Battlefield. Maybe we'll see a swap.
that is absolutely unacceptable from Captain Shrimps. It is so bad. Like, from this veteran player now playing for a professional organization. He doesn't die. He's fine. But like, yeah, if that auto attack had landed, that might have been another one. But as a player who we hype up as one of the better mid laners, to die level 1 before the minions even get to your lane is absolutely unacceptable. Like, that's the kind of thing where a scrim just happens and you're like, we're going to restart because my mid laner is actually trolling.
I don't know what was going on. Maybe ego checking DNA. But I don't know, man. Honestly, I have no idea. You don't have an idea. I don't think Twitch chat has an idea. So we're just gonna let slide, and hopefully Captain Shrimps comes back and make sure that death didn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's rough. Like, there's still a flash on both of them, so we could see more brawling, but the fact that your opposing laner gets to use their teleport to actually come back with an item, whereas you don't even have potions at this point, is super, super scary. The only thing that they have going in their favor is a small experience advantage. Now XU is like, all right, let me come here to actually get this to crash, because otherwise DNA could freeze this and actually basically end the game at like two minutes. So
that'd be very bad.
It's gonna be okay, but like,
I just feel the anger from you, Josh. You're always like, all right, let's not fight. Let's just farm it out. And you're like, why?
I don't mind fighting, right? But it's like, you have to fight with like a reason. You know,
that's true.
The only reason why Captain Shrimps was there is because he's ego checking him, and it's just like, that is not a reason.
Hey man,
that is how you lose games.
Well, on the bottom side, they're looking to fight too. I think a lot of these teams are looking to just fight over, as Tempos is going to take a good amount of health away. Flash 4 comes in. Vine's going to miss, but Meech is going to take a stun to the face. We all fighting in every lane right now, because on the top side, we already have Emotional trying to see if he can go on a Speedo. Lawrence no flash on himself. Big swing on a miss, but Speedo's going to fall down, and that means Emotional's going to pick up a kill for himself on the Mirage squad.
Yeah, all right, wow. So all of this just means that we have about 1,000 gold lead in favor of Mirage right now. And I feel like so much of this, like, there's some fatigue setting in at this point. You just finished playing a best of 3. It's been a long, it's already been a decent amount of time. But these are also players who have been doing this for a long time. They've been playing in the Battlefight tournaments. This is something that they should be used to. You need to hold stuff back in the tank. And right now, Mirage is just showing that they have a lot more stamina to actually play with. And Speedo, I mean, this is already a tough matchup. It has gotten way harder now that he's given over a kill, and the Bramble Vest is coming out from Dragoon.
Yeah, it's looking pretty tough for all these individual lanes, so that means we have to pay attention to what XU does to recover some of his teammates and their little shenanigans that has occurred. On the bottom side, though, we do see Wixie win. Shrimps!
No.
Gonna take one more. DNA. He might be looking to impress here. One more. Force the flash. DNA still has a flash to follow, but instead he's gonna flash away, both living with just a little bit of health as XU shows up in the mid lane.
Yeah, okay. And it looks like we're not done, as Dragoon and Speedo are still going out in the top lane. Bye, Speedo.
Goodbye. That is why Darius wins that matchup. Lead hurts. He's someone that likes a lot of blood. I don't think he likes to bleed.
No, this is an absolute nightmare if you are in the bottom lane or the jungle, because you're just like, guys,
what's going on, boys?
I can't. I'm farming. I haven't even done a full clear. You've already both died. What do I do at this point? He's running lane to lane, just trying to salvage something. And you just know that Wixie on this Jhin is kind of like, oh boy, this just means that later on in the game, I have to deal a Fed Darius and Fed Syndra with maybe a Gale Force by the time where I actually have to start fighting them. It's so scary, and it's just like, you just feel so helpless.
But Josh, this is where you have to have the champion's mentality. It's like, you know what? It don't even matter. Run it down 10 times. Flash forward and Zenith Blade forward on a Dur. That might have been a mistake, though, as Tempos falls down by himself. He thought he'd go through the Black Shield, but it's not going to work, as XU is going to penguin out and walk and waddle away.
I can't watch anymore.
Josh, we have to watch this. It's our job. Guys, Josh, crap, I'm trying to think of. We'll play a game of chess. You can win against me like 5 times. We'll make it work, okay? Just stop crying. It's gonna be okay, all right? Shh.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I was saying that it was bad for bot lane too, but now they're also throwing things on the fire, and it's just like...
X, you got
Poor
this,
X.
man. Champions mentality. Come on.
I mean,
he's a Viking.
Again, it was a very similar, overall composition to what we saw previously in the OQ, right? Where it's just like, you have all of these members who are trying to fan out, and they're dealing with, I think it was Olaf plus Set, right? That guys that just got to run in. And before, it was very close, but now all of these marksmen, all of these ranged characters can kite out super effectively, and they might finally find something.
Yeah, Motion's going to back off. We already see Dirt trying to see if he can help out. A good little blast going over the wall, but Shrimps is here. Black Shield's going to come through, but that's not going to save him. So finally, Cloud9 answers back. XU's the one with the kill, the one on the board, as he's not the one who is losing in an individual one-on-one. So they have something going for him.
They have something, yeah. It's a good start. It's a good start. But they do need to calm down a little bit with some of these plays, because it just feels like you're going for a lot of things that don't really need to necessarily happen. And now, Trevor barely dodged out from Zenith's blade.
Yeah, Wixie tapping him with the revolver that he has. Do see XU starting up the Rift Herald though, so that's going to be a small victory for themselves too, picking a neutral objective on the map. Wonder where they're going to put it down though.
I mean, top lane's a lost cause.
Don't give it to him.
Yeah, you don't put the gold there. It's too late. You probably actually go bottom lane, right? Because Wixie is still doing fine.
That's true. Yeah.
And Jhin is just such a powerful champion that if you can start running over this bottom lane, then you will actually have like a real secondary threat to build off of. Orianna is an arguable opportunity simply because you want to be able to allow Captain Shrimps to run around with XU. But it is a bit scary because after what we've seen a couple of times so far, we are going to start coming into those power spikes for Syndra where she can start bullying Orianna kind of regardless of what item she comes into in the next minute or so.
But right now, it's taking a look at DNA in this one-on-one. It's looking pretty good. Man, not a lot of us know where he came from. Not a lot of us know his history when it comes to the amateur scene. But this game, at least game one, is definitely putting on a pretty solid lead against Captain Shrimps, who participated in the 2020 scouting grounds. So let's see if he can actually carry them. That's the big question. Can he actually be the one who carries the rest of his team to victory?
Yeah, it is important to note, like, if you get leads for yourself, you have to do something with them. It's not enough to be like, hey guys, we have a gold lead. It's like, okay, well, the real objective is the Nexus, but it's great that you got 17 kills. Let's try and make sure we do something with it. So now XU once again, like we just talked about, having opportunities to go into the bottom lane and crash this Rift Herald into the turret. Now they're going on Meech.
Yeah, no stun on Meech as of yet. Deadly Flourish isn't going to land. Flash comes over from Trevor as now we see Unstoppable Viking coming to slay down Trevor as he gets axed to the face. Means they are able to use this Rift Herald play for themselves, and Meech is the only one left to defend.
Yeah, is he going to drop it? No, he's actually just going to back away. In fact, they're not even going to take this plate at all. Instead, they're just looking to get a reset in. I feel like they could have done so, but it is definitely a choice that they're making in order to get XU back on the map as quickly as possible, because he's the power point for this team, and he's the one that really needs to be out there affecting the rest of these lanes, because you see that Speedo already down 2 levels against Dragoon, doesn't have any opportunity to do much of anything other than farm, and he wants to be able to have some kind of impact, whereas Dragoon potentially looking to back away, and he can actually move down with how much power he has to make sure that his team gets the second dragon as well.
Yeah, but looks like he's still going to be going up to the top side. We'll have to see if he wants to move down to get the second Drake for themselves. But for XU, the one who has been doing the most damage for the squad, sending 2 kills, about to get a Gore Drinker. Hopefully he can be the main person that salvages a lot of the early game shenanigans that has occurred for the rest of his squad, as so walking around the jungle, man. Purple glowing hands.
True. Trying to... He might want to drop that fairly soon. Like, this is a good opportunity to do it before the dragon has spawned in order to demand attention and pull people away from the bottom side river. But Dragoon, after making sure that it crashes, he might actually be okay in this 1v2.
Does flash away, as we do see Emotional and Tempos going at it on a 1-on-1. Trevor's around the corner. Not going to go in as of yet, but they are just going to back off from both sides.
Yeah, interesting. So, all right, the fact that XU is strong enough to threaten Dragoon in that situation without knowing exactly where everybody else is going to give them a little bit to play with. And as they move over to the top side of the map, they can actually get a little bit of something back.
Ooh.
But once again, oh, this is what we're talking about. DNA.
Oh, one more
DNA.
auto attack. Oh! Captain Shrimps wins a second one-on-one, and that means that we have to go to a game 3. But before we get to that, Dragoon is fighting on 1 versus 2. Axes down XU, unfortunately doesn't get the kill.
Blade.
Speedo finally gets him with the last Darkened Blade on top of Dragoon, and that means that Cloud9 are coming back in their individual lanes.
Wow. Oh, he ran out of time.
Oh! Oh. That's unfortunate.
What a game of League of Legends we're watching right now, Walk. It started off so badly overall, and DNA and Captain Shrimps here in this 1v1 again, kind of an ego check. It looked like Captain Shrimps was about to die. DNA clearly thought that that was about to happen because he starts backing away. Instead, he ends up taking so much damage from that turret shot and barely flashing too quickly. Or not quickly enough, just means he ends up losing. And of course, Dragoon over here on the side with no flash, no way to escape. Almost is able to take down XU, but without being able to get that last bit of damage, not getting the Triumph proc, not getting the Conqueror to really stack up in a way that he can turn it around. It just means that we are very even once again in this game. The only advantage is currently the 2 dragons that are currently sitting in Mirage's pockets.
Yeah, now Josh isn't mad or disappointed about this game after the level 1
Well,
shenanigans.
not in the same way.
Oh! That's where XU was just running away from the bleeding on the replay. But, you know, I'm a guy who likes I'm a guy who likes fighting games. You and I both like Smash. Captain Shrimps is up 1. DNA is up 1. I think we gotta go to a best of 3, man. But I think this is legal. We want a one-on-one.
Hey.
XU. We don't want you to come into this fight. Instead, Captain Shrimps is gonna take another kill. That's just cheating. We gotta go back to only a one-on-one. Come on, Cloud9.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I am super impressed with XU in this game. Like, he has been able to, he's been putting himself in places where he has to make plays, and he's able to consistently do it anyway. And now they force a flash, and they're going to be getting away, but tempos, there's a lot of, like, small mechanical things that they aren't successfully doing, which could have built them a lot larger leads. But XU has still been doing a fantastic job at always being in the right spot in order to force errors from his opponents, and it's part of why he's been picked for this team.
Yeah, man, pay attention to the bottom half here. Actually got 2 fights going on. One on the main screen means that Trevor's going to flash in on a Wixie. Mitch seeing we can take down Wixie by himself here. But with Wixie flashing over the wall, it means that he'll be okay. XU's around the corner. Current call comes flying through. 1 shot. Second shot misses. Gets axe to the face. Tempos. Going to stun down Meech. He's going to be looking to see if he can spoon feed this kill to his AD carry. Flash from Meech aggressively on a Wixie, actually. You know, thumbs up to you, Meech. Thumbs up to you. You may have made it out. They're still hunting for you. Meech has to run away. More thumbs up. I think they're playing around with their food now.
Yeah, look at the food's difference. Just being able to run quickly.
Oh,
Oh, killer instinct!
Oh!
Oh!
He makes it! He's out alive! Nice. Good job, Meech.
Man. There are so many small turning points in this game in ways that we do not normally see in League of Legends, and it's making it very, very entertaining overall. Like, every single time, everybody's going in with the idea that they can actually make the outplays, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, but the game ends up being particularly even as we see a Rift Herald getting picked up by Play Emotional, and we'll see if he's actually able to drop it down before it expires, because it could be a pretty big difference maker if you're able to take down one of these structures and free up one of your lanes to actually start playing, as Dragoon doesn't realize that X is here.
Yeah, every time Mirage wants to fight a one-on-one, actually just shows up and cheats himself here, but he is going to be bleeding. Dragoon can actually turn this around, but one more swing will be able to do it. Dragoon has now turned 1 versus 2. He won this doubles tournament by himself, man. He didn't even need emotional because he probably would have won it in. We saw singles coming in. It's going to be a doubles match, and Mirage on the 2v2 wins that.
Yeah, and now they're going to be able to back away, and they should be able to come down if they want to pick up this Mountain Dragon, and this Mountain Dragon would be absolutely nuts, but watch how Dragoon is actually able to play this. He gets every single one of these Qs to heal him, even the one at the very end when he's trying to kill kill XU's Olaf. But the fact that he gets the double heal off this first Q, and then he also gets the heal off of the Triumph, just means that he goes from being almost dead to suddenly 500 HP and can walk right on back into Speedo.
Yeah, man. 2 kills coming in. That's why you don't really want to gank a Fed Darius, because he's now sitting here 3-1 with the Stride Breaker, too. He's able to slow down someone else and also look to fight. But so you do see Ripto being popped mid lane. Get a good old charge. Dragon is going to be spawned up as well. But both these teams are looking to set this up.
Yeah, Darius is here. He's very strong. And look at all the damage going down onto Leona. He might just be dead. Yeah.
My God.
Wow.
All right.
Tempos.
You know what? Apologies, Tempos. Your champion is not doing too hot, especially against Trevor and his Morgana. I mean, a good amount of work. Under the contest, though, this Mondrick should be going over to them.
Yeah, and it makes it very awkward because Speedo came down here. He didn't use a teleport. He just walked all the way over. And now the lane assignments get a little bit wonky because you have to make a decision on whether or not your top laner goes back top or whether or not they come down bottom. But this should be a winning 2v2. Trevor is effectively pinned to Meech here, but he's walking away.
Meech has to get the hell out of dodge. Utilize Skilleter Instinct to back away. Black Shield's going to make sure he stays alive. We do see the Soul Shock was coming through to see if he can stun down XU. XU does not have the ultimate for himself. That means he's going to get blown up from Meech. Dragoon's here to see if he can join down and dive Speedo. Speedo's going to be playing under the turret. Tempos is here. Soulflare comes down, but it's not going to matter because he falls down. Double kill over to Meech. Dark Binding comes through. It's worse for wear for Cloud9 Academy as another apprehend. Make sure Tempos falls down. He just came back to life, guys. Come on. Now DNA wants to see if he can find action on Wixie too. It's a one-on-one. Skylarweek isn't going to land, but Wixie's on the turret. He can't auto-attack here. Good little Gale Force coming in, but look at that damage, man. Throwing all these balls at him. He's going to fall down too.
Are we done? Or are we just going to find a couple more kills? Because Captain Shrimps live? There's collateral damage.
I thought the fight was done. Not going to lie, Josh. But Mirage are down to slug all this out. Let's take a look at the first part of that action on the screen.
Yeah, it starts off like, okay, you see that Morgana is moving away, but they miss a couple of these early skill shots, and then he's able to create distance, and this is what the team composition is so good at. You create this arc of fire where you can all hit the same person, and they melt. Look how quickly XU ends up going down, and Dragoon is so far ahead, able to walk through. Good flash on this solar flare here means that he doesn't end up going down, and at that point, everyone is just slowly winning these 1v1s across the map. Jin goes down in the top lane. Orianna comes down and dies to play Emotional's Graves. And this absolutely crazy style that Mirage is playing is very effective in a lot of these more coordinated teams. Because you've been seeing XU's been playing positionally. He's been playing around the map in ways that his opponents just aren't. Because they're like, oh, yeah, you can do that. I'm just going to fight.
And that's what all this chaotic playstyle Mirage is definitely costing Cloud9 Academy. They're doing all these weird little shenanigans. It's working out for them. As now we see XU stuck between 4 members. He's going to fall down. They actually flashed over to make it a safety. Bleeding's going to come through. Speedo's now here to see if he can get onto the back line. Kirk Paul comes through. But Speedo's in the middle of 4. It's 2-man chocolate. Make sure he turns around, but Dragoon is still alive. They have to take him down. They actually even can't. DNA is now here to join the party. As now we see an Unleash Power comes through. Scatter the Week goes in. Triple kill goes in for Emotional. Let's even get a 4th one and make sure that man is happy. Nope. Meech's going to take it away. But still, that's actually 5 kills, no 4 kills, because actually managed to flash out for the side of Mirage.
This is a Baron at 20 minutes because you have the double mark spin, and we didn't even see the beginning of this fight, honestly, and it's just so messy. But this is where XU struggles, right? There are so many people, they do so much damage, and the fact that he survives because Shrimps has the shield over here means that it's not as bad as it could have been. You only lose 4 members, right? But the Gore Drinker is good, it keeps them alive for quite a while, and then they just keep throwing gas on the fire. They think they can keep helping this person, but Tempos is already too far gone, and just by sticking around, you stay in a position where you just get jumped on by every single member of Mirage, and you get 4 kills, a triple kill onto the Graves, and a Baron buff off of it. So a huge lead bursting out of nowhere coming out for the red side of this map after the game had just become even.
They definitely got angry because XU shifted a lot of those 1-on-1s to 1v2s, man. They're coming out with ferocity, with tenacity, like, goddamn. 7k gold lead, 8k gold lead in favor for the Mirage boys. Is now Cloud9 has to see if they can get a foothold and break this momentum of what Mirage is doing so far.
Yeah, and this this Earth Dragon, where it's going to be like the real point of contention for potentially the last part of the game, if you give it over, suddenly Olaf and Aatrox don't really get to play it. Neither does Captain Shrimps, as he just dies through the Morgana binding. And he's going to be dead right up until the dragon spawns. So that might have actually just spelled the beginning of the end for Cloud9 Amateur in this first game, because they're going to lose at least a turret, maybe an inhibitor, and then we can see Mirage go back up and take up another objective.
Yeah, this squad is looking like they're just afraid. They are unable to step up. They just feel very confused playing against Mirage, and the way they just are down to fight no matter what. Extra's on the flank, so they could look to catch your current call comes through. This might be the turnaround as you take a look at emotional. But instead, Meech actually has already turned around against XU. Templos is now caught by himself. Your double goes out big. Unleash Power comes through. I think Cloud9 may have just thrown the game.
I think they had to do it, though. It was like their best chance of finding anything, but they weren't able to find a kill, and now the game might just be over. The huge shockwave shrimps!
Two people go down, but the apprehend from Dragoon, make sure he gets it. Wixie's gonna fall down due to the bleed, so Captain Shrimps makes a Hail Mary to salvage 2 more kills, but the Mountain Drake is still on. Everyone is already rallying to make sure they get that soul.
Ooh, but do they get there in time? As we see this one more time, XU and Speedo try and do what they need to, but the Immortal Shield Bow on Graves keeps him alive. Watch this big shield come through, and they're not able to finish it. Instead, they just fan out. They take down individual members, and both Tempos and Speedo die. And with the Mountain Dragon Soul now in their pocket, Mirage have everything that they could possibly want in this game.
Which barely falls, but let's take a look at the Shockwave. This is pretty good, man. Green man
pretty
comes
good.
in. Pretty good. Pretty good, but Dragoon managed to pull Shrimps and force a splash, and the Bleed managed to take him else down. I think it's still a tough call for Cloud9 to come back in this game. Shrimps finds a way back in, but Speedo is 1-6-1. He ain't a happy top laner.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, right? As a top laner, you're going to get counterpicked. And unfortunately, Dragoon is an excellent Darius player, and Darius has an excellent matchup into the Aatrox. So everything is kind of stacked against you. And we'll see if they can find something, because Captain Shrimps has shown signs of life despite his ego death at the very beginning of the game. And now, as they start to move in, they're going to have opportunities to try and get some fights started, right? They do still have a fantastic wombo between the... Oh, but they actually need to go for something.
Yeah, but Dina is going to get caught out, but he's going to make it out alive. Speedo's going to see if he can go dive in. A 3-man shockwave from Captain Shrimps might have salvaged everything, but even then, we see Meech taking down a lot more of everyone else. Now Captain Shrimps falls down. Even though the shockwave was so good, Captain Shrimps is unable to help out everyone, as all 5 members of Mirage are still alive. They're walking down the mid lane. They're going to take this game 1, and they're going to throw Cloud9 Amateur in for a loop.
Yeah, that was a clean ending to the game anyway, coming up from Mirage. But they found some early advantages. Cloud9 to XU had a fantastic game for most of it, but the opponents were just too far ahead. They fanned out, slapped him.